ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Power Vacuum. I'm your host, Belmont, and I saw this article and it made me wonder if this is the only mistake Microsoft is making right now. This is from Games Radar. Sometimes we are inconsistent. Fable hits PS5 day one, so Microsoft can get the RPG to as many players as we can. But Xbox Game Studios heads wants to maintain optionality for multi-platform launches. Sounds like the left hand's not talking to the right hand over at Microsoft. That's what it kind of sounds like. We just want to do the best job by each platform, by each game. Yeah, that would just be somehow magically ending the console wars and going everyone's open source or some shit. I don't know. Let's go. Microsoft has increasingly moved toward a fully multi platform release plan for its games, but the strategy has not been perfectly consistent. Yesterday's Xbox Developer Direct offered a pretty good illustration, with Fable coming to PS5 on day one alongside the Xbox version, while the release of Forza Horizon 6 will be staggered across the two platforms. What gives? Um, my speculation on that is Forza is like Xbox's one of Xbox's best-selling games. So they're going to want to kind of keep that going. And how well will Forza sell on PlayStation when PlayStation, do they still have Gran Turismo? I don't even know if they still have Gran Turismo. I haven't played Gran Turismo since I started playing Forza, honestly. I just felt Forza was mechanically a better game. But let's get back into the article. I take a pretty simple view on this. Xbox Game Studios head Craig Duncan says in an exclusive interview with Games Radar Plus, "We want our games to reach the most players that we can." Duncan was previously studio head at Rare and oversaw Sea of Thieves as it moved to Steam and then PS5. And with each successive port, he says, "We saw the community around the game grow." I hate statements like that. As we spread the game further and further, more people started playing it. Yeah, that's what would happen when you spread things further. More people have access to it. It's a redundant statement. For our game makers, Duncan explains, if you're on the Fable team, you just want as many people who love Fable and appreciate the great work that the team's doing. That's always our goal. It's rarely more complicated than that. It's like, how can we get this game in as many players as we can? Or how can we maximize profits because we pissed off a lot of the OG Fable players by releasing horrible tech demos and like screenshots and like the it's quite clear if you look at the main character and the people developing it that certain people are self-inserting them into the game, and games that have self-inserts suck. Right? We don't want to play games to be reminded of the real world. We want to play games to escape the real world. We want to play games because they're high fantasy or high sci-fi or like ridiculous over the top horror. We don't want to play games that are like, you know, shelf stocking simulator. Like some people will play that game, but the amount of people that want to play a game that mimics the real world is substantially lower than the amount of people that want to play escapist games. And don't put real world feelings and not feelings like emotions, like don't make it feel like I'm walking outside my door, right? Make it feel like I'm walking outside a door of some cabin in a magical enchanted forest. I don't fucking care as long as it's just not simulating the real world. While Xbox has made clear that this is the overall strategy, Duncan readily admits that sometimes we are inconsistent, as we're seeing with the Horizon 6, which will launch on PS5 sometime after the Xbox and PC versions arrive in May. You see the you see some games in one place, some games in multiple places, he said. Just know that we're going to work on that and we're going to try to be more consistent with what we do. Still, Duncan doesn't want to fully commit to day one launches across Xbox and PlayStation, as he feels it's more important to maintain optionality in order to make sure every player, regardless of platform, gets the best possible experience. That includes making sure that each game takes full advantage of whatever features and nuances that the platform has. Oh, really? Is Xbox going to start programming games with the touch sensor of PlayStation controllers in mind? I don't think so. I don't even think you have access to that like technology because I believe that's proprietary technology for the PlayStation. But eh, I don't know. It seems the real issue is you have to program the games to handle the processors because the PlayStation processors operate differently than Xbox processors. I'm not going to really go into the details of like how processors work because that's not what this channel's about. And also, I don't give a shit about tech talk as much, but that's more about the nuances. There are, but if he's implying that he wants to utilize every feature, which is insane, you can't do that. You can't utilize every feature on every platform. Just you're going to drive your devs mad. Um, if we're only in a position to release a game on a platform and not have it show up really well, then I think we wouldn't do that. Okay, so he is talking about performance wise. I think we would have a conversation internally and go, hey, unless we can do it really well and do the right thing by those players, then, and that's when you get into conversations of, well, maybe we can ship it afterwards because teams are only a set size. We only have a certain amount of ultimately, uh, it all comes down to resources. Not everything is limitless, so we just want to do the best job by each platform, by each game. Be sure to look at our big. Okay, so this is weird to read because when you see these the dots here, what's happening is he's most likely going off on a tangent and saying a bunch of other stuff that doesn't apply to the questions or the articles that uh as they're written. So they have to cut it out because it could just be like filler talk. Sometimes people say, it's annoying to try to example, but you're telling a story and you say, John and I went to this thing and Mary was there and it was like 32 degrees out, stuff that doesn't matter to the story. They cut out of articles and they have to put dot dot dot. So they have to break the text up, which is why it reads like a stroke victim. Um, yeah, so we only have a certain amount of ultimately. So either there is another option, I guess. He could have given away information that he wasn't supposed to and requested they redact it, so they had to. Uh, but yeah, it's so this is Xbox strategy, and it's because their game sales are hurting, and it still completely blows my mind that they haven't figured out that the basically the heart of their problem is their subscription service for video game rentals because that's what it is. Game Pass Ultimate is a subscription service for renting video games. That's it. That's all it is. It's like when Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were dying, they offered like these sweeping subscriptions. They always had subscriptions, but they offered ones later in their game that would like let you get multiple movies, multiple games. You like earned credit to get like concessions in the establishment. I almost call it a restaurant, but it's not a restaurant. It's just a rental place. But they did have those. You could buy candy, popcorn, stuff like that. It's just the death throes of a company when you're offering sweeping subscription services. But yes, they don't seem to see that that's why they're hurting games. That's why their sales are hurting. Why would somebody pay for a game when they can just rent it, right? And it's just Ultimate Game Pass is destroying games, and Microsoft can't even see the forest for the trees because they're the one planting the fucking trees. So they don't even care or know what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, they say they're going to be more consistent. I don't see that happening because there are people in Microsoft that probably want to stay exclusive so they could drive up Microsoft console sales and PC sales and like get them away from the competitors. But I don't know. It seems like a bad strategy. I don't think they're gonna sell as much as they think they will, to PlayStation fans. Or how many people that play PlayStation that are hardcore PlayStation fans have ever even played Fable or even heard of it? A lot of people haven't heard of Fable. You tell them Fable, they're gonna think like, "Oh, a fairy tale," which is true story. I said that to somebody. I was like, "I'm playing Fable," and they're like, "What Fable?" I was like, "The game Fable." And they're like, "Well, what's it about? Which fairy tale?" I'm like, "No, you're looking at the definition of the word, not what I'm playing." And that still happens now. I'm sure that somebody right now is watching this going, what the fuck is Fable? Never even heard of it. Because it's a niche game for Xbox only fans because it was only on Xbox, but it's going to be on PlayStation 5. day one, which means it's probably going to be on Xbox Game Pass day one, which means it'll be on PC day one. Well, day zero on PC, probably. Someone will be playing this game before it drops on PC, that's for sure. But that's all I have for this article. This is your host, Belmont, signing out.